Welcome to Generation Safe Quick Tips, where we answer educators' most pressing questions about technology in the classroom in 3 minutes or less. Our question today is about cell phones at school. How do we conduct a reasonable search of a cell phone? Your acceptable use policy may affect how much authority you have to confiscate and search a phone. But the general rule is you may confiscate a phone if it causes a disruption in class, if it's used for cheating, or if you have a reasonable suspicion that the phone contains evidence of harmful or illegal activity, such as gang activity, substance abuse, or child pornography. Searching a student's cell phone can be tricky. You can't search a phone because a student is annoying and you just know he's up to no good. You must have reasonable suspicion that the phone contains specific evidence of illegal, unlawful, or harmful activity, or that school policy has been violated. And searches must be limited, meaning you can only search the areas of the phone where the suspected activity would be. To avoid any legal complications, iKeepSafe recommends that only administrators or trained staff conduct cell phone searches. Here are 5 examples of situations that may warrant a limited search. Where there is a reasonable suspicion of cheating, such as texting during an exam, or if you hear about a picture of an exam. You may also search if you have a reasonable suspicion that someone on or off campus is in danger or serious harm. For example, plans for a gang fight. Or if there is a reasonable suspicion of intent to commit suicide or other self-harm. Also, where there's a reasonable suspicion that the phone contains sexually explicit photos of a minor, particularly sexting photos between students. Those are illegal and they must be reported to law enforcement. And where there's a reasonable suspicion of inappropriate contact between student and faculty or staff. Other situations may also apply that aren't illegal but still violate your acceptable use policy. Now, let's talk about reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion is a legal burden of proof that must be based on specific facts. For example, a report of a specific problem by a reliable staff member who is confident that she saw the content in question. This would constitute a reasonable suspicion. A reliable student, or better yet, a group of students reporting specific detail of a problem constitutes reasonable suspicion. A phone call from a parent with specific details. Say, for example, during a routine search of her own child's phone, the parent discovered information sent from another student. This is reasonable suspicion. In these cases, administrators may conduct a limited search of the device in question. A limited search means the administrator doesn't search the phone indiscriminately. They look only for the specific item reported. If a text message is reported, the principal shouldn't look through the photos. If a photo is reported, they shouldn't search through email or text messages unless she has the reason to believe the photo was sent by email or text. When conducting a search for evidence of possible illegal activity, the standard for reasonable suspicion is essential. Without reasonable suspicion, a search in a criminal matter is illegal and a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Any evidence collected would be thrown out of a criminal proceeding, and there would be a privacy violation. For non-criminal issues such as cheating or even sexual harassment, the same reasonable suspicion standard doesn't apply, but because of possible privacy concerns, you'll still want to make sure that you have a reasonable basis for performing the search and that the search is limited. If you're not sure if you have a reasonable suspicion, consider asking for consent from the student before initiating the search. If the student gives permission, the search is allowable, even if someone later questions the nature of your information. If the student refuses to give consent, you may still search the phone if you have a reasonable suspicion. You could also consider asking the person who reported the problem if anyone can corroborate their story, or if they have other relevant information that might help you make your search more specific. As we face these tricky issues, it helps to go back to some pre-technology principles. If a police officer pulls you over for speeding, he can't search your trunk, unless, that is, he sees a hand sticking out of your taillight. For more information about a safe search of a cell phone, go to generationsafe.ikeepsafe.org.